Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You see it either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the book by our next guest. We're excited to welcome Maria Vetrano to our broadcast today. Maria and I had a great conversation on Conversations Live, the radio show that you guys can actually catch on our podcast here on Amazon Music. But it's about her book, Queen BESS. We're going to talk to her not only about the book, but also about what it's been like for her to see the early response to it. For those that are brand new to the book, you guys can be able to get it right here on Amazon. HP, hello to you. Thank you so much for the follow over there. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so you guys can see. You can get the paperback right now for $19.99, or you can be able to get the Kindle edition for $9.99. I have some Amazon books, so mine is showing discounted there. But we're going to talk to Maria not only about the writing of the book Queen BESS, A Tutor Comes to Save America, but what it's been like for her to share her love of history, but also, I think, world events with all of us as well. If you guys are not staying connected with Maria, we'll let you guys know how to be able to do that. But Maria, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. This is quite a treat to be talking to you again and to your audience.
Well, look, the pleasure's done. Look, it's my pleasure. And I should say, even though we are here on Amazon, we are simulcasting. So we do want to welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. We're everywhere today with our broadcast. Maria, as I mentioned, after we had such a great conversation on the radio show, and sometimes this happens, I think, you know what, I'd like to continue this. But so I was glad that you accepted the invitation to come here on Amazon. So you've had a little time since we last spoke. What has it been like for you, Maria, to see the continued response to Queen BESS?
That's a great question. So we launched the book on October 15th, locally in Cambridge. I've had 3 bookstore events. I've got one tomorrow and more coming up. It's been a lot of fun to connect with people. So in my previous life, I used to be a lounge singer sort of on the side. Was never going to quit my day job. Hard making money when you're doing something creative, as you know. Yeah. But the most fun has been connecting with either people I haven't seen in a long time or people I've never met, and finding ways to kind of laugh about where we are in the world at this point in time, and talk about geeky things like Tudor history and political satire, and just finding places where we could connect on a human level, and it really enjoyed that experience. So that has been a blast. Love it.
There are so many different layers to this book, Maria, which is why I enjoyed our first chat so much. And for our audience that's new to it, let me tell you, for myself as a reader, what I really appreciated. For one, of course, there are so many things people will relate to, Maria, because, of course, the political season we're in right now, right, where people are thinking about leadership, who's the best leadership. Queen BESS, the book, is not so much about it being, necessarily just a woman being president. It is about the right one, right? And I think being able to look at Queen BESS as her history, what she was able to achieve, as to why she would be the perfect person. That's one of the interesting things for me that really got me engaged in the book. The other aspect is, and you and I talked about this on the radio side, is about agendas. Everyone has an agenda, no matter, what side in the book, and people may say in real life too, wink, wink, what people's agendas might be. But what was it like for you to play with the idea of, yes, it was about getting a candidate and getting someone elected, but also the motive behind why they chose who they chose?
Right. So in this book, Queen BESS, this self-made billionaire, who's a tech billionaire, Dakota Winfred. She's refreshing when we first meet her because she's a billionaire with a conscience. She decides that the only way to save her company and America from this president of the United States is to find someone to run against him in 2028. So she's going through the list of, potential people in her head, and realizing that there are vulnerabilities for everyone who's alive today, because everyone has a past. People have email, people have relationships, or, they've said something in the press, even 2 or 3 decades ago that could come back to bite them.
Right.
So she's a huge admirer of Elizabeth Tudor, who reigned England for 45 years, from 1558 to 1603, when she died at 69. and just sees the potential in her to be a great leader in the 21st century, which is kind of a crazy idea, but that's where Dakota felt she had to go to get the best candidate for the job, who would be have the people's best interests in mind. And of course, she's in it for herself too. Elizabeth had a big ego.
Yeah.
But then again, she has the makings of a great leader. She was a great leader in real life. Dakota thinks she could be a great leader again, with a lot of a culture is she has to be acculturated into the 21st century, of course, because things are pretty different. And that's been a lot of fun, and try to think about this 16th century queen coming to the year 2027 and learning about electricity or Netflix or coffee.
Right. I want to ask you, we didn't talk much about Dakota in the radio interview, but I am curious to ask you this for yourself, Maria. One thing that does come through, and you alluded to it just now, is Dakota's curiosity, but also her desire not only for herself, but for others. How much of Maria do you see in Dakota?
Well, that another great question, because friends of mine who've read the book said, "Oh, and I see parts of you in this book," and she's not a carbon copy at all. There is some commonality. In my bio it says when I was 9, I did try to save the whales, and I went door to door with a petition and illustrations and tried to save the whales. So I believe that it doesn't matter who you are. You don't have to be a billionaire. You can be anyone, and there's a way to, I think, feel empowered in life. It can be really challenging in the current environment where we're all facing 24/7 news cycles and social media. But still, there are things that you can do. There are things that you can do in small ways to make a difference in people's lives. Dakota, of course, is a multi-billionaire, so she's got a lot of potential power to change things. And so, there's an element of me wanting to make people's lives a little bit better if I can. I mean, in my ways, to do it through political satire and humor and kind of entertainment. Dakota wants to do it in a very direct way in terms of being a kind of the power behind the throne in a way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are other things about Dakota that are, that I based on myself. Our favorite store is REI. Of course, we like Amazon. But I wear a lot of smart wool, which you can also buy on Amazon.
Yeah.
And a lot of Echo sneakers, and not the kind of designer clothing that Elizabeth wears when she arrives in the 21st century. And like Dakota, no matter what we do, how much we work out, we're always about 7 pounds overweight. So those are things that we have in common.
Love that. I want to say we're having a bunch of people coming in here, Maria, so I want to give some shout outs to you over on the IG side. Welcome to you guys. Let's send you guys a quick welcome message over there. I appreciate you all being with us. Bookman Reads 1, hello to you. Good to see you. Zen Zone, hello to you as well. Antoine Dunn, hello to you as well. Good to be able to see you over there on the IG side, and over there on Amazon. Thank you guys so much for being with us. If you guys have any questions or comments for Maria, make sure you guys put those in the chat there. Kenya, hello to you on Facebook. Appreciate you being with us, and thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. For those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. We're speaking today with Maria Vetrano today. We're talking with her about her book, Queen BESS. Of course, you guys can be able to get it right here on Amazon. We have it in our carousel. You guys will see it there, either on the side or down below, depending on the device you're watching us on. You can get it in paperback or the Kindle edition. I want to talk about Dakota's love of history and yours as well, Maria, because I think for her to have made the decisions, and I love the process we're able to see how it plays out in the book, but we're able to see she has knowledge of what these individuals have done, including Elizabeth, right? Is that also a common thread for yourself too, your love of history and appreciation for history?
Yeah, I mean, with Elizabeth Tudor, I mean, yes, I love history. I especially love, anything from like the 13th century to, this early 17th century. So I just seem to be stuck in that era. Although I like ancient history too. That's also interesting. So but I've loved Elizabeth Tudor since I was about 7 years old, and I watched um, I watched a show called Elizabeth R, which was a masterpiece theater program. It was a mini series. It was absolutely fantastic and transformative. And at that time, and this was like the early 70s, there weren't many images of strong women in the media. I mean, not in the media, and certainly not in books, not at the little, your little library at the elementary school. So when I saw this program with my family, I just became enthralled with her. I thought, such a capable, strong, brilliant, funny leader who prioritized whatever she needed to the rule of her country over marriage, over children, over what a typical woman would have had in the 16th century. And she was brilliant. And she really, as I sort of live sometimes in this little fantasy world, when I get too distressed about the real world politics that we face here in America, and especially, right now, I think about how Elizabeth would handle whatever the issue of the day is. And that brings me comfort. And honestly, there are things we can learn from people in history, whether positive or negative. I think Elizabeth has a lot of the qualities that we need in a leader.
Love that. Stacy, hello to you. Good to see you over there on Facebook. Chris Irvin, hello to you. Chris says, I love historical fiction. The female Dan Brown. I think even the way you open this book, Maria, to the point that Chris is making is interesting, because for those who have gotten to know Elizabeth in history, taking the time, as you mentioned, Elizabeth would be a celebrity. I mean, would be that person taking selfies, as you kind of allude to beautifully at the beginning of the book, which is why I think, again, this story is not only entertaining, but it works so well, right? Because when you have someone who is used to being idolized in many ways, right? Put in this world where we all idolize everybody. It is one of those interesting things. Was that part of the fun for you on the creative side of this? We talked about the historical side. Was that part of the fun for you on the creative side, Maria, to kind of create your own story for her, as well as the world that she found herself in?
Absolutely. There's a couple of scenes, like very, very early on in the book, after Elizabeth arrives in the year 2027. She goes to a very famous church in Boston. It's Easter Sunday. Her escort Gideon takes her there, and she's late, and she wants to go to the front pew, and she's ready to like whack people on the head who don't understand that they were there first. So there are things that she has to learn, like they don't know that she's a Queen of England. So she has to get comfortable with the idea of people calling her by her first name instead of Your Royal Highness or Your Majesty. So there's quite a lot of fun, and some of the fun is that in real life, Elizabeth had tremendous energy. She was either playing lute or playing on this keyboard instrument called the virginals, or dancing or riding horses. I mean, she was very, very active and engaged with other people and with other things in her life. Mm-hmm. So when she gets here, she basically exhausts the 21st century, her little cohort around her. And one of the characters is like, oh my God, we need to watch something on television. So he puts on The Bachelorette, which becomes a favorite. And she's completely mystified by all these bachelors who are seeking the attention of this one woman and thinking, she must be a princess royal for all these suitors to be around her. So there's a lot of things where she's trying to relate what she sees in this life to her own experience. She's always translating words from, English into ancient Greek, or she's trying to look for the root words of things, because she's just trying to make sense of this incredibly complex, fast-moving world. And there's some of the challenges come in there too, because our lives are stressful in a different way from the way that people in the 16th century had stressful lives.
So true. The Real Lady Extreme, hello to you over there on IGSCU as well. So this is an interesting, you teed this up perfectly for Maria, so thank you for that. So you have an interesting connection then to Elizabeth, in this new arena that you find yourself in as a published author. What has that been like for you to navigate, talking to strangers like myself, having people who you've never met reaching out to you now, telling you what they think about your work? What has that been like for you now to enter this realm and to kind of navigate that world?
I mostly love it. I mean, when I had the idea for this book and then when it became published, I thought, especially these author events, this is a party. Everyone's welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to have fun. And what I found at the author events is we laugh. I get a lot of questions from the audience. I have an in-conversation partner. It's very interactive. And for me, that's what I want. I love engaging with people, and I love when they engage with one another. And I hope that the book gives them some respite, some relief from this the presidential election process that it's just sort of endless and exhausting. And a little spoiler alert, Cyrus, I know you've heard this before, but that this is the first book in a trilogy. Mm-hmm. And it will become clear eventually that Elizabeth will run as an independent, not as a Democrat, not as a Republican. Mm-hmm. So in another way that I idealize her is that she has to learn how to bridge this partisan divide that I think is not healthy for us. We have to understand that we have more in common with our neighbors. We have more in common with people in other parts of the country than we think. And it's got to be based more on love and connection and, your family, your found family, than it is on fear. So that's my little, proselytizing there. But honestly, I really believe in that. And I believe that many of the people I know were looking for forces of good. We're looking for inspiration. And to me, that's what Elizabeth and her cohort, because the book is very much of an ensemble piece where there's a lot of interaction between the characters and they all play off one another and they all have a job to do.
Such a great point. Hello to you, Helen. Good to be able to see you over there on Facebook as well. Again, everyone, we've been speaking with Maria Vetrano today. I told you the time flies by, Maria.
It does.
But
I can talk to you all the time.
See, there you go. See, I should have been a part of this in conversation with you, but I'm not going to.
Bring me down to Mississippi. I've never been to Mississippi. If we can get a little crowd, I'm there.
Yeah, hey, we need to make that happen. But in the meantime, we want our audience to get Queen BESS. Again, if you guys are on the Amazon side, you'll see the book either on the side of us or below us, depending on if you're watching us on your phone or your laptop or desktop. Here on, if you're joining us on one of the other platforms, we do have the link that will bring you guys over to Amazon. You can see it is available in paperback or the Kindle edition right now. So make sure you guys do get your copy of Queen BESS. A Tutor Comes to Save America. It's a great book. Don't worry about it. As you just heard, and I'm so glad Maria said what she said. It is a great book to be able to kind of escape from the world that we're all living in right now, to have some fun, and to enjoy a great book as well. Stacey says, very interesting. Thank you for sharing. I'm glad you could join us, Stacey. So let our audience know, Maria, outside of getting the book, how can they stay connected with you?
They can go to my website, where the book is queen-bess.com. They can sign up to get on the newsletter. If they have book groups, I love book groups. I am happy to either join a book group via Zoom or Teams or in person if I'm, if it's somewhere near where I am at the moment. So yeah, please do stay in touch. Go to queen-bess.com, sign up. I also am on Facebook and Instagram with the Queen BESS.
Love it.
Yeah.
Maria, thank you again for spending some time with us. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to our next chat together.
Really, it's a great pleasure. Thank you, Cyrus.
More than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.